XRP does not have a CEO.
Ecosystem. People will say things like, well, XRP has a CEO. And I'm like, who is it? Ripple has
Where?
a CEO. That's me. There's scores, if not 100 other CEOs.
But they hold majority.
Building around the XRP ecosystem. And I think that's when I hear people say that, I think, okay, they're not educated about what's going on. And
He's calling y'all fucking stupid. I'm sorry.
so we need to educate people. Obviously, you see that in a number of other
I think it's intentionally dishonest a lot of the time, if we're being honest.
tokens where there's a very distributed, very open source community. People don't understand. Ripple does not control XRP. It is open source. There have been amendments passed to the XRP open source technology that we opposed. We were against them and they still passed. That's okay. That's open source technology. There's other things we have championed that have passed, but it takes 80% of the community approving those amendments, which Ripple doesn't have control of that.
Just real quick, look at all this. Was that platinum speakers from Chainlink, Circle City, Gibson? What the hell is that?
Ecosystem.
Ondo, Ripple, Robinhood, the heavy hitters, AWS, the fintech.
Yeah,
dude, come on, Visa. This is where the moves are made, people. People are going to be opposing everything Brad's saying, even though it's refutable. But from my perspective, I believe that, yeah, the value of the ledger and the native token is going to come from Ripple. They're the ones out there building and utilizing the tech. And we just saw in UAE, RLUSD, they just got the official kind of green light for that to be used institutionally over there. Granted, the volume of flows in Abu Dhabi or whatever, I looked it up, it's somewhere around 80 billion, which granted, in the grand scheme of things, but here we go. He's talking about the national bank charter.
Speaking of banks, Ripple has applied for a national bank charter.
Yes.
Can you just sort of give a brief
Huge.
overview, any updates in that process? How are things going there?
Come on, spill the beans, kid.
I don't know the exact answer. Look, I think it depends who you talk to. It's been a little disappointing to see some of the traditional banks start to lobby against things like that.
No shit, dude. It's inevitable. They don't want interest on stable coins at all.
It's like, look, if we want more stability, we want clear regulation, having a Fed master account actually is a net plus to that. You want to de-risk stable coins? Having Circle have a Fed master account, have Ripple have a Fed master account, that's actually a good thing. And held to the same regulatory standards as a bank. Great, we're in. We feel like we're already doing that. Ripple launched our stablecoin under a New York Trust license, which we feel like is the gold standard above what even others have done, because we are all about serving institutional money movement. And institutions aren't going to work with us unless we have really leaned into being compliance first.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. Not to say they're not the only one. It's just, yet again, look at the projects that are making these moves, man. And wow, the amount of bullishness in the air, it gets you amped up. It's next level. Here we go, Larry Fink, aka Satan himself, potentially. He does look like he's a clone of Klaus Schwab.
I did say Bitcoin, because we were talking about Bitcoin then, was the domain of money launderers and thieves.
Yeah, why did you say that, Larry?
But the markets teach you have to always relook at your assumptions. There is a role for crypto in the same way there's a role for gold. That is, it's an alternative. For those looking to diversify, this is not a bad asset.
Insane, dude. Yeah, I wonder why he changed his tune. Maybe because now you have a fucking ETF in it. But even still, I don't know if this is edited beyond this because it is from a Bitcoin only channel, so they could be disingenuous at times, but I stated in one of the previous videos that when you pay attention to the way he's been speaking, as of more recently, the past year or two, he seems to be, he was flexing that the IBIT was a huge success, but at the same time, he does obviously acknowledge that it's crypto. Like the buzzword crypto instead of just Bitcoin. And I don't think he truly, I don't trust any of these people, bro. I don't trust any of them. You can't. They don't have our interests in mind. They don't want our well-being. Peter Schiff, silver is up 5.8% today, yet CNBC has barely mentioned it. Imagine if Bitcoin was up that much today instead of being flat. That's all they'd be talking about, but CNBC completely ignores silver, hoping their audience does too. Their advertisers want to keep viewers in the dark. Yo, I've been agreeing more and more with Peter Schiff, dude. It is That's true. That's true in regards to anything, dude. The media pushes what benefits them, and you got to ask why. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, like they have their talking points. We all fucking can see it. It's kind of blatant as day. Then we got this guy with the funky, whatever. Yeah, gold is the only form of freedom that has survived every collapse. Neutral, answers to no government, answers to no bank. XRP is the evolution of that same principle. A neutral bridge for I don't know, like. I don't know about all that, but let me hear what Mr. Funky.
We're a free country once, but once they need to get in and figure out how much did you earn, as though it's their business, you got to pay your fair share. It's not even about
A fair share.
paying your fair share. It's about managing the wealth of your citizenry and making sure that some people are not richer than they ought to be. Because if the government wanted to, pay its debts some other way, it easily could, but instead they choose to use the people as a source of revenue, and that's, think of the percentage of time that you work for the IRS every year. So
About 40%, probably, give or take, if not more, depending on how much you make and where you live.
that you can fund
Everything is taxed. Everything.
regime change operations or some other bizarre foreign policy objective like we see with U.S. aid in some foreign country. It's like that entire system is just fundamentally unjust and undemocratic, and it really doesn't represent the will of the people. It doesn't allow them to be as free as they could be. It doesn't allow families to
I wonder why they wouldn't want that.
preserve and transmit generational wealth, and it's all done in the name of this obscure concept of fairness, which is defined by bureaucrats and politicians thousands of miles away from you.
Oh man, getting me hyped, bro. I like his ponytail, his reverse ponytail. He like flipped it like a Lego. We now have Trump saying he will keep stocks at record highs. I mean, he can say that all day. $600 billion a year in Mag 7 capex. Fed cutting interest rates into 3% plus inflation. Global AI infrastructure spending at $1 trillion a year. Fed ending QT in 2 days. That's the huge one right there. U.S. deficit spending at 6% U.S. GDP. Nvidia larger than all but 5 national stock markets. Record corporate buybacks of $1.2 trillion coming in 2026. Trump saying he will completely cut income taxes. If he really ever came in clutch with that, that would be unbelievable. I doubt it. That's just politics speak, but I mean, maybe, I don't know. You never fucking know. I think the checks maybe are a lot more likely than ending income tax, but that seems to be all the moves with the tariffs and everything, They kind of said what the plan was in the beginning. Let's hope, the plan actually follows through, if kind of rip the Band-Aid off, because they got to go through it, because if they were going to commit, they had to commit, so then they could have everything rocking and rolling by midterms, because I feel like that's what the political play seems to be. Just in the UK government to crack down on crypto tax avoidance in 2026. It's going to be real easy for them. We're going to be real easy to enforce that. Fucking brutal. Incredible. Silver is soaring. It's now up $3 on the day, trading above $56. Silver is up 5% on the day, 12.5% on the week, 16% on the month, and 94% so far in 2025. Bitcoin is getting decimated, priced in silver. Sell Bitcoin now and buy silver while you still can. Listen, I like metals too. Silver, gold. People were saying that the CME went down today or halted trading, and people are kind of saying that, manipulation for the metals and all this shit because they started moving. I don't know how true that is, but I wouldn't put it past them. This is huge. Odds of the Federal Reserve cutting interest rates by 25 basis points in December rises to 87%. It's crazy. It's 2025, and we're looking at Polymarket because it seems to be accurate, man. That's huge, bro. The interest rates and the fucking QT ending. Let's go, baby. The Clarity Act, like I said, probably Q1 2026. Not looking likely before Christmas. A bunch of jackasses doing nothing. So this is from Smoke on how early things are when it comes to XRP's use cases in global finance and ISO compliance. Let's hear a little bit of this.
Yet even begun to taste real utility for something like XRP.
Yeah, the utility
let alone the
really
kind
started.
of FOMO that comes on the back end from an investability point of view. Once these assets are being kind of standardized in regards to the world as we know it. And if all of this comes to fruition, one can only but imagine and Sandy Cowell certainly thinks that this is the case, one can only but imagine the kind of value that some of these protocols may get to. Maybe you can
If they're moving all the money, it's going to be at least a lot.
tell me if I'm on the right track or not there, Smoke, before we dive into the next document.
I do think you're on the right track, certainly. And I think when we consider just all the value in the world, that's exactly what we're talking about here. When the internet was created, they didn't say, let's include some information into these information protocols. They made sure that all information was uploaded, or all information could be able to be uploaded and easily uploaded. And we're in that point in time where the value transfer layer of the internet is finally being explored. And there's only a few candidates, and Ripple and XRP Ledger is leading that race to be that value transfer layer of the internet, in combination of being ISO compliant as well. That's going to be
There's still that buzzword, that ISO compliant. People freak out because it's the messaging standard. It's
another
just
enabler of value transfer between blockchain networks and traditional finance. And that's the exact reason why Ripple became ISO compliant, is to further enable their utilities to become the ultimate transport layer of value on the internet via the XRP Ledger.
Yeah, and this is, I certainly always enjoy, if everyone feeling a bit down in the dumps, or
He's got
something, I always
mail.
enjoy going back to sort of some of Chris Larson's talks back in sort of 2015 and things like this.
He
And I
does
think
look like Mr. Clean.
really that helps to simplify what their mission is, you know, because it's kind of
Make mad
analysis paralysis right now.
Analysis paralysis, whatever the fuck that means. Ripple's Brad Garlinghouse on JPMorgan coin and why it won't be able to solve certain issues in global payments. I don't understand what problem that solves. I mean, it solves their internal not wanting to give up the keys, bro. Like, they're in prison, they got the keys, they don't want to get rid of that shit.
JPMorgan coin made headlines in the fintech space a number of weeks ago. Is that similar to traditional cryptocurrency? Because to me, it doesn't sound like a decentralized product,
I'm pretty sure it's a deposit token,
even
too.
though cryptocurrency promotes decentralization. So what are the differences with what we traditionally consider crypto?
Well, let me start by saying
Free.
I think it's great for the blockchain and crypto industry to have players like JPM leaning in. Thumbs up.
Yep.
That's great.
They were at
That's the
Ripple
only nice
Swell.
thing I would say about this.
Where's my phone
so
at?
I
There
got
it
asked
is.
this last week. I was speaking at a Morgan Stanley conference, and somebody asked me, you know, there was this headline, set of headlines about, you know, about the JPM coin.
Right.
And this guy was
Fuck
from Morgan
JPM.
Stanley who was interviewing me. I said, so is Morgan Stanley going to use the JPM coin?
No.
Like, probably not, you know. And so, well, is
Yeah,
Citi
there you
going to
go.
use the JPM coin? Is B of A going to use the JPM coin? Is PNC? And the answer is no. And so does that mean we're all going to have these different coins? And does that mean like we're back to where we are, where there's lack of interoperability? So like, I don't
that's
get
where
it.
Chainlink
One more
comes
quick
in.
thing on JPM coin. So let's think about this. The JPM coin, they announced for institutional customers, if you give them $1 as deposits, they'll give you a JPM coin that you then can move within the JPM ledger.
Yeah, it's a deposit token.
Wait a minute,
like,
just
that's
use
all
the
it
dollar.
is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I really don't understand. Like, if you're just moving it within the JPM ledger, and it has to be dollar to dollar, you know, a one-to-one.
There's no
backing,
point.
It honestly doesn't actually. I don't understand what problem that solves. Now, back to my first answer. Look, if it solves the problem of JPM being associated as they're leaning into crypto, yay. That's all I got.
And
mean, he's
understood.
not
And
wrong.
I think that's confusion. Not only look, if this doesn't work out, you could be a comedian. So that's always a good thing at this. If blockchain doesn't work out, but I think that's really what the issue is, even for the broader audience that does understand the technicalities like we do. It
want her
still doesn't
boots.
solve that problem of scalability.
Speaking facts, bruh. Silver reaches new all-time high of $55, bro. I love silver. Tom Lee says Bitcoin could still set a new all-time high by year-end. Yeah. Oh, God, this fucking guy.
The idea
Sorry, excuse me.
What, Bitcoin 150, 150,000 you were thinking before?
Yeah, now I think he pushed it again.
Well, I think it's still very likely that Bitcoin's going to be above 100,000 before year end, and maybe
100. Wow, now it's above 100,000 before year-end. Wow.
even above one to a new high. So
Oh, that's a big range between, it being 100 by year-end and, 126, 127 we have to get to.
Bitcoin makes its moves in 10 days, and every year, I think some of those best days are still going to happen before year end.
The idea of what, Bitcoin 150?
Let's hope, Tom Lee. You've only thrown shit at the wall 100 times. Yeah, this guy said the CME futures halted, silver and gold were on the cusp of a breakout. I don't know. That'd be interesting. The market cap of real-world tokenized assets is projected to reach $18.9 trillion in 2033. We're not far off. DLTs are enabling this, including stablecoin creation, may set to benefit the most. Eventually, you will see the entire financial market run on blockchain. I mean, it's just inevitable.
For example, that is basically a stock which is issued on blockchain. That's the same technology on which crypto is based. Industry insiders I have spoken with have said that eventually you will see the entire financial market run on blockchain.
We
You
got
started
Larry
to see
Fink
this with
saying
stable
it.
coins, and then now we're starting to see it with equities. We've heard of the announcements of Robinhood introducing 200 U.S. Tokenized stocks in
Robinhood's
the EU.
getting in big.
Gemini also offering tokenized stocks in the EU. Those are more derivative products that are not available in the U.S. But you've had the NASDAQ that has asked the SEC for permission to be able to offer tokenized shares, tokenized securities
We still forget about that,
on
bro.
the NASDAQ. And that's because of this wave of the entire financial infrastructure, which is expected to upgrade to blockchain. And they don't want to lose ground to platforms like Coinbase, like Kraken, like Gemini.
Like
This is
Ripple.
a big market. Just to show you what one study shows is that real world assets, the market cap for real world assets is expected to go from 600
that's the
billion
market.
this year to
It's all
about
the
19
market.
trillion
It's
in
all the money.
2033.
This is the asset class and platform that will swallow all other asset classes. That's what's insane, because all this money, like she's telling us, Larry Fink's telling us, these are sections. Oh, he's going into the Clarity Act. He's saying, we're all waiting to pass. Can anyone explain to me how Bitcoin, hidden founder, and Ethereum, disguised whales at ICO, are going to satisfy these requirements? Will they be given a pass? I'm not going to read all that right now. God, could you
For
imagine?
the next couple of years, I think we'll substantially be cutting, and maybe cutting out completely, but we'll be cutting income tax. Could be almost completely cutting it because the money we're taking in is going to be so large.
Let's hope.
And yet, other countries who have been ripping us off for many, many years, and many years they've just been ripping us to shreds for the next couple of years.
Oh God, yeah. I hope that's not. I hope this is the one time it's not political speak. You know, that'd be awesome. So DAI is saying these Bitcoin maxis are at the place where they can't avoid acknowledging XRP. They're struggling with it, but it is what it is. Sorry, guys. Institutionals are the only marginal buyers in 2025. Bitcoin, ETH, maybe Solana. Let's fucking hear this. What are these clowns talking about?
The important takeaway here is, though, that as we've said before, TradFi this year, 2025, has been the marginal buyer, and they continue to be. That means Bitcoin and Ethereum, and to a lesser extent, maybe Solana, XRP, but mostly Bitcoin, will do well and will continue to do well. But
Really?
all the other alt complex, every episode we get people asking about, what about alt season? What about meme coins? All that institutions can't touch. And even
Well, Dogecoin has an ETF, and you got to ask why. Are they in bed with Ethereum? You got Vitalik promoting it on Lex Friedman's podcast.
when they can touch, which is not very many of them, they don't want to. It's way outside of their risk purview. So you kind of have this bifurcated market within crypto, which is these majors are doing reasonably well.
Reasonably well. Wow, you got to be smoking different types of hard H to get to even just say that with a straight face.
In this drawdown, and they will do well going forward. This alt stuff is just not going to do well. It hasn't all year. So pretty much the advice would be don't buy it, right? Don't buy these meme coins, don't buy alts, because the only people who are buying them can't touch it.
Wow, what the hell is this? What is this shit? I don't even know if that's copyrighted music. Oh, this is for Trezor. Wow. Yeah, they're doing reasonably well. Are you smoking? Oh, you're smoking all sorts of dope. Michael Saylor. It's Black Friday. Go ahead, Michael. Keep buying. Let's see what happens. Pretty sure this is Rosie Rios.
You know, crypto has been in the news time and time again, and I just want to share that I am on the board of Ripple.
Yep.
Ripple is XRP.
Nah.
And so when people ask me the question, why did you join the board of Ripple? I joined the board of Ripple because XRP serves a purpose. It's a function that facilitates cross-border payments. It's not some store of value, kind of arbitrary value that is not pegged to anything. This is actually what legitimate financial institutions use, specifically for cross-border payments. So instead of days and dollars, it's seconds and cents. And that is the future, in my opinion. You know, crypto.
I hope they make. Why make dollars when you can make cents? Oh, Rosie. Yeah, bro. I mean, this is insane. This is no glitch. So Tom Lee's saying on October 10th, 1/3 of the crypto market makers went out of business during the $19 billion liquidation. But then DAI is going, there was no glitch. It was a coordinated attack. Operation Choke Point 3.0, by the way. If 1/3 of the market makers went out of business, why have we not seen one headline? Who else is upside down? That's the key question. That's the key question that they're keeping real tight-lipped. NASDAQ has filed with the SEC to raise option limits on BlackRock's IBIT Bitcoin ETF to 1 million contracts, the maximum level allowed. Avalanche, cool. JPMorgan expects Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. Let's hope, dude. So the S&P lowered their kind of trust score assessment rating on Tether, and 1 being the best, 5 being the worst, they gave them a 4. So the CEO of Tether has been kind of throwing a not tantrum, but the optics of it definitely align with what he's saying, where, oh, the system's against us because we're better than the system and all this shit. He gives this statement here. The S&P regarding your Tether rating. We wear your loathing with pride. The classical rating model built for legacy financial institutions historically led private and institutional investors to invest their wealth into companies that, despite being attributed investment-grade ratings, collapsed, pushing worldwide regulators to challenge such models, the independence and objective assessment of all major rating agencies. The traditional finance propaganda machine is growing worried when any company tries to defy the force of gravity of the broken financial system. No company should dare to decouple itself from it. Yeah, I mean, you're saying it yourself, bro. That's why Bo Hines had to come in and save your ass. Tether instead built the first overcapitalized company in the financial industry with no toxic reserves, and yet is and remains extremely profitable. Tether is living proof that the traditional financial system is so broken that it's becoming feared by the emperors with no clothes. System is broken. They're upset. We made it evident. And then apparently they've been buying insane amounts of gold. So people are going, oh, why are you buying gold and not Bitcoin? We know why. It's pretty blatant. I really, really would like to know more in depth, and I wish I could just have the data and videos curated of, have they ever truly addressed why they never had an audit? Because I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt that I just haven't seen it. It's just there's so much information. Granted, yeah, you can grok it or whatever, but whenever I'm using these AIs and shit, they leave out so many key details unless I would know to ask it something further. So if I'm going into a topic like this blind, this was interesting. Stocks just landed in Binance Wallet. Ondo's 100 plus tokenized stocks and ETFs, the most liquid in the market, are now available to Binance's wallet for millions of users on BNB chain. That's pretty crazy. This guy's an actual menace to society.
Hey, excuse me, how much do you pay for rent?
I pay $2,900 a month in downtown Miami.
Oh my God, $2,900? Dude, do you live in an absolute shitbox?
No, it's a 1 bedroom.
Oh, 1 bedroom? Bro, at $2,900, I would be embarrassed to let anyone up there, let alone let my family know. Yo, good luck with your life, you fucking brokey. Oh my God, that guy is poor.
What an absolute menace, bro. I know it's a joke. People are freaking out. They're like, he's not real. Wait, I thought Bitcoin was going to replace gold, says DAI. Tether bought more gold last quarter than every central bank. The writing's on the wall. Why else? Yeah, apparently Campbell came out. One of the guys from Campbell was going, oh, yeah, our shit's for poor people. Stuff like that. Way to kill your own brand. I don't know. Michael Saylor posting shirtless again. Fucking mental case, bro. It's insane. This is either going to be the greatest story or disaster ever told. It's a coin flip right now. They're selling you the paper liability, USDT, and using your money to buy the hard asset, gold. It's the ultimate hedge. If the dollar collapses, their product goes to zero, but their balance sheet goes to the moon. They are running a better monetary policy than the Fed. Dude. Oh, that's incredible. Incredible, bro. We live in the craziest timeline right now. It really is. Everything does seem like the world's a stage type shit. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment, join our group, the Minutemen, linked in the Patreon in the description. Exclusive videos there weekly. Just dropped one today. And that's it. Appreciate you guys. I will see you in the next one.